The following video is sponsored by the generous people at TOYHAX.com. TOYHAX is your one-stop shop for sticker sheets for Transformers of all generations, from reproduction labels for the oldest pieces in your collection to upgrade sets for the most recent retail releases. They also make labels for G.I. Joe, figure display backgrounds, and more. TOYHAX.com. Welcome back to SticKit. My name is Kit, and today we'll be taking a look at the TOYHAX labels for Earthrise, Lifeline, and Ratchet. This set comes with 59 separately numbered stickers on 4 sheets and costs $15. TOYHAX were really given a blank slate upon the release of Earthrise Ratchet. In some ways, that's a bad thing, but in others, it's a good thing, and in this case, TOYHAX seized almost every opportunity to take that unpainted loaf of white bread and shape it into something attractive. Before we get on to the real show, the biggest flaw is that the major red stripe isn't continued onto the hinge. You might say that it's unwise to put stickers on this part considering it gets rubbed all over during transformation, at which point I'd point you toward their new Earthrise Ironhide set, which does have stickers in this exact spot. Otherwise, this ambulance mode looks absolutely stunning, and that's due in a large part to the bright blue windows, which are all given their due attention and have a wonderful gradient between the dark and light blues. Props are to be given especially to the windshield, which does a great job of working around these sculpted wipers. Widening our scope to the front end as a whole, you'll notice some shiny headlights below and a properly reversed ambulance above. The license plate, I feel, looks best adorning the front bumper. The option I went for references the combiner team he was part of in Unite Warriors, Skyrate. The sides of this ambulance are similarly detailed, outside of that hinge, with a red stripe continuing up toward the nose, along with an additional black stripe along the wheelbase. A massive red cross symbol decorates what will become his robot mode shoulder, with an even bigger one residing up top, and there's a spot on this clear plastic piece for your choice of a hospital location. No idea if Chatham is a reference to something or not. Down below, TOYHAX attempts to make lemonade out of these carried-over siege wheels by adding some Earth-like details to them, a noble effort. Sadly, there isn't much to be done around the back, as the feet are mostly hollow and intricately sculpted, so the best that could be done are some small taillights down here. Speaking of making lemonade, Lifeline's vehicle mode is likewise given a wonderful treatment, even if it's not quite as drastic as on Ratchet. Since there really wasn't anything missing per se from Lifeline's initial release outside of some actual engineering, TOYHAX's efforts were spent more on sprucing up the overall finish. Starting at the nose, Lifeline's headlights are filled out in a bright semi-reflective blue, with a darker blue trim that helps contrast them from the fenders. The single largest stickers are found on said fenders, and they provide some smooth vent detailing. The windshield is colored similarly to Ratchet's, though the gradient flows in the opposite direction for some reason. The interior gets some intricate sticker work with a blue dash panel and bronze seats. The region just behind the seat backs themselves has been changed to blue, and that selfsame blue accents her antenna. Before we move on to the rear, I want to call out the beautiful white stripe running along her skirt, as it does wonders for the overall color balance of this palette. The rear end utilizes some very clever sculpting usage, as there wasn't much to work with back here. The taillights especially look like they were always meant to be here, despite residing on what is simply just the thickness of Lifeline's shell, and the license plate has some great continuity between itself and the large white stripe on her topside. What they managed to do here was to polish a turd to such a brilliant shine that it'd be indistinguishable from a rather smelly Malteser. Let's see what their robot modes have to offer. As God intended, Ratchet's robot mode is a lot more red than it was previously, and naturalizes the blue of his windows by subsuming it into his overall color scheme. For starters, his head crest is covered over in red as a sort of reversal of the Marvel comic design, which I can get behind. I think this looks more at home on his shoulders than a red helmet with a white crest would, at any rate. Red is added to his arms in the form of the red cross symbol from earlier alongside this trapezoid on his bicep, while his cuffs feature 2 bright dots of blue. The torso looks a lot more complete with the finished stripe from vehicle mode, and it acts as a sort of through line for the whole robot mode, with the windshield doing the same for the blue. The shins are more blue than they are red, and this is another instance where I really wish that hinge was covered in red to complement it. 1 blue stripe on the inside and 1 red on the outside. The thighs harken back to Ratchet's original Generation 1 sticker sheet, and his kneecaps have added blue, though in a natural stance they're covered by the shins. Finally, the outer panels on his calves have added technical detail. I really admire how the artists at TOYHAX just accepted the heavy presence of blue on Ratchet's windows, ran with it, and used it as a tertiary color for him, as it raises him above the level of being just a largely white blob with red accents. I also feel that the tune-ups given to Lifeline's robot mode were largely a success, and like Ratchet, blue has also been added as an accent color to her color scheme, connecting the two in a way. Still, Lifeline's deco changes focus more on a darker forest green, such as with these added stripes to her helmet. The large pins in her shoulders were colored green as well, along with a stripe on her waist, with a blue stripe on her abdomen to break things up. Oddly, her forearms are accented in yellow, which is found nowhere else on her, though more blue is found close to her elbow. Her hips now sport some dark green oblongs, which really make me wish her gun could store on either of them, as they're a perfect spot for a holster. Finally, her shins and feet get the remaining few accents of green. I already found Lifeline's color scheme appealing upon her release, but these extra accents really make her look sporting. It's not quite the glow-up that her vehicle mode had, but it definitely brings her on par with her companion. I'm in a bit of a pickle when it comes to recommending this set. It's undeniable that a lot of effort and skill went into it, and I dare say that TOYHAX were in top form regarding cleverness and creativity, but the figures underneath are awful. Granted, this set was an Amazon exclusive that sold out faster than anything, so it appears there's an audience that actually likes the duo. If you're in that crowd and don't regret the initial purchase, I have nothing but praise and adulation for this label set. However, if you're suffering from buyer's remorse and are thinking of getting rid of them, then I doubt this will change your mind unless you're right on the fence. If you liked this video or otherwise found it helpful or informative, then please subscribe for more reviews like this in the future, and feel free to suggest topics for future reviews in the comments. When we return, I suspect our next subject to be somewhat surprising. This has been Kit Katastrophe. Transform and roll out.